So I would say that rule that says you have to become very, very skilled at your thing. You got to become an expert in your field. You got to be the best XYZ that you can possibly be. I believe that that rule is incomplete. I think that if we want to advance in our role, that might get you to a certain place, but it won't help you thrive when it's time to advance, because the other part of the rule is that you need to be able to scale out your expertise to other people. This is outside of my day-to-day work at Indeed, but this is something I'm very passionate about and I love. Everybody that I work with at Indeed knows about Hey Stranger. They love it. And you don't control what they're saying about you when you're not in the room. You just don't have any control. The ceiling is sloping and we're trying to stand up straight because we're trying to be professional, but this room was not built for you.
Welcome back to the 5-Minute Career Hack Podcast. And today I have the amazing Dr. Chela White on the 5-Minute Career Hack Podcast.
Hello.
Chela, thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And I don't think they're ready for what we're going to talk about. So, I don't do the whole, well, Shayla's done this and here's what her career path's about. I'm going to read, which y'all know we love LinkedIn at 5-Minute Career Hack. I'm going to read Shayla's amazing headline, tell you just a little bit about her, and then we're going to hop right in. Chela is Senior Advisor of Talent Intelligence at Indeed. She is a community facilitator and a recovering academic. Sounds spicy. Sounds spicy. That sounds spicy. Here's some things that Chela values: social impact, equity, adventure. We're sisters there, girl. Kindness, efficiency, community, wellness, and results.
And results.
Take action to get results.
That's right.
Chela, I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Thank you.
About career advancement.
Yeah.
Yes. We have a cool course at 5-Minute Career Hack called In Transit, and it talks about getting there faster, how we get there faster. So obviously you and I as career professionals, Dr. Chela, has had, so many amazing achievements in our career. And so this is a great opportunity to pour out to help others learn from our expertise, from our successes, and from our failures.
Yes.
So I'm excited to chat about the topic with you today.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to talking about it. I think a lot of times it's information that people don't consider whenever we're talking about career stuff. So this is going to be good.
Yes, yes. So Chela, I talk about a lot how some of the rules and the ways that we are approaching work is because we heard some suggestion or something that somebody said to us, and then we made it law in the workplace.
Yeah.
And it's not even written in any handbook. Yeah. We just decided that this was the rule, and then that followed from pretty much generation to generation at this point.
That's true.
And so when we talk about career advancement, what's one rule that you've seen in the workplace that most career professionals follow, but it actually holds them back from getting there faster in their career?
Girl, okay. All right, here's one. And this is, I'm going to talk to myself and talk to other people, because I think that there's a reason why this comes to mind. My CEO, who graciously mentored me at Indeed, bless him, he told me once, sometimes the thing that makes us really good at our job is also the thing that holds us back from advancing into maybe a leadership position. So I would say that rule that says you have to become very, very skilled at your thing. You got to become an expert in your field. You got to be the best XYZ that you can possibly be. I believe that that rule is incomplete. I think that if we want to advance in our role, that might get you to a certain place, but it won't help you thrive when it's time to advance, because the other part of the rule is that you need to be able to scale out your expertise to other people. It's one thing to be really good at your job. Yeah. It's another thing to be able to influence other people to operate and perform at that level as well. If I am one of the things I do at Indeed is facilitate. I'm a facilitator and a presenter, and I'm very good at it. If I have a team of people under me, and I am the only person on the team who is very good at facilitating and presenting, that is not helpful because I need everybody to be good at the thing, right? Because we want to elevate and we want to advance.
Right.
And so I'm going to advance my career if I can take my area of expertise and scale it out. So the rule is not necessarily one that you should not follow. I just think that there's more. There's more to it.
Yeah. No, I remember, I don't remember which organization I worked for, but we would always do these like strengths trainings. Like how do you not focus so much on your weaknesses or your opportunities, as we call them, but like go in and all hard on your strengths. But I like this. I like you not saying that it's wrong or a mistake, but that it's incomplete. So there's another layer to it, obviously, that people are missing. So I heard you say scaling out your expertise, which means influencing others. You know, I used to always use this funny, like it's not funny, but a joke of like, if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, can somebody do my job?
Exactly.
Right? And so that became my role, even from when I was in Chicago, I mean, in McDonald's, when I first started my job, I was like, well, I just need to be cloning myself.
Was your first job at McDonald's?
I started out as just a cashier, but I became a shift manager.
My first job was at McDonald's.
Okay, then. Let me tell you, I learned some of my best productivity and leadership lessons. The only reason I got the job at Kohl's and they were so impressed with me is because I was able to talk about all those things I learned from 16 to 20 at McDonald's. So yes,
I love it.
Got lots of parallels here. I love it. But I used to always say and I think Becky, my general manager, told me just clone yourself. And so everything that I learned, there was particular individuals that I would teach them. And sometimes, girl, I'd be sitting there in the restaurant and they would be doing the work. And I'm doing my paperwork and they knew how to run the restaurant. It wasn't a ton of labor. So I love the idea of like add the layer, it's incomplete, clone yourself, influence. What are some approaches that people can take to scaling out their expertise?
I think to your point earlier, training and teach backs. So again, I'm a strong facilitator and speaker. How can I enable other people to do this as well? So really helping people learn how to do what I'm already doing. I do a lot of training and coaching, both inside my workplace and outside of it. But when it comes to my team and like people who might report to me, I take a coach approach to managing them. And so what that means is, learning. We put a high premium on learning, a high premium on learning and development and practicing and creating environments where people are not afraid to make mistakes. And so like, how can I be that safe space for other people to learn? I think that is, that's going to be one of the ways that you can scale your impact across the business. Again, so like, do that. That'll help advance your career. Quick.
Yes. No, I love that. And so, obviously we're talking about like, okay, what myth or what, thought process do you need to debunk to start advancing your career? But also there's some other things that play into that, because even when you are teaching people how to, or cloning yourself, that's those people, even whether it's your team, your peers, your boss's boss, business partners, those are stakeholders. And so three of the things that you mentioned and you talking about career advancement was stakeholder alignment, building your personal brand, and then we're going to cover a little bit of relationship building too. So when you think of stakeholder alignment, talk to me a little bit about like what that is and why do you need that group of people to be always speaking for you or representing you in order for you to advance your career?
Stakeholder alignment. So this has to do with making sure the work that you're doing, that people can see it and that they can see the value in it, and that it's actually helping your stakeholders. I think what ends up happening at work is we over-index on our relationship with our manager and our manager's manager, right? So we might have a good relationship with our manager. Yes, like I'm showing this person, they see me, and then like, oh, I have a skip level. I have a skip level meeting with my manager's manager. They see me, so like I'm good. But
those skip levels, though, that is funny to me.
I mean,
that's a trigger. That's a workplace trigger. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, don't get me started. Okay, we talk about. Look, I don't know how much I can relax.
You be relaxed. This is a 5-minute career hack podcast.
So, those skip level meetings, we over-index on that sometimes. And if you work in a field like my field, and I know a lot of other industries do this, when it's promotion time, those are not the only two people in the room making that decision about your promotion. There are other people in the room. I have sat in calibrations and made decisions about promotions for people who I have never worked with a day in my life. But because they report to my peer, me and my peer both report to the same director, we're all in the room together, and we're all making the choice about whether or not this person, their promotional packet cuts the mustard, they get the promotion. So if it's between Candace, who does not report to me, but I know her and I'm familiar with her work, or Joe, who does not report to me and I do not know him and I'm not familiar with his work, I'm probably going to vote for Candace, right? Because there's a little bit of alignment there because I'm familiar with Candace and her work. So I would say when you're thinking about who your stakeholders are, consider your manager's peers. Those people are going to be in the room whenever they're making the decision about the reorg, about the promotion, about who gets to do the cool project, you know, who gets to, present the cool ass deck. Like who, can I cuss?
Yeah.
Okay, who can do this?
Yeah.
Right? Those are the people that you need to be building relationships with. And one of the ways to do that is a simple reach out. How are you? Is there anything I can help you with? Anything I can support you with? Right? So building those connections with people across functions.
Yes.
Yes. And I think that one of the big mistakes that people make when it comes to stakeholders is not knowing who they are. Thinking that it's only your manager, it's only your director, it's only people above you. That is not the case. What kind of relationships do you have with your peers? What kind of relationship do you have with your manager's peers? Right? These people are going to influence your career whether you like it or not. So
No, I love that. You said so much.
I know.
And I have been in many a succession plan meetings, making decisions about people who I never met. I had performance scorecards, and I had the input of their boss, but I would sit with my peers, and we decide who are we taking on the team, right? At 5 Minute Career Hack, we did a series, probably season 1, like Army of Allies and who's on your board of directors. And so once I kind of had those experiences, when I knew that, okay, it's not just my boss like you talked about. And then I think I heard something from Caroline Wanga that was like, you need your boss, you need your boss's boss, your boss's peers, you need a mentor or a sponsor, and then your team is actually too. Right? And, business partners along with that. I started being a little bit more strategic about how I started to influence and build those relationships. So it was me understanding first want to get to know a little bit about them. So I would set up meetings with people who were those influencers. Let me get to know you a little better, right? And then what do you measure by? How's your work performance measured? So I can see how I can impact your, like how can I impact your performance, right? And then I would be open about, okay, well, this is what I'm going to need. So that then it becomes like, okay, we're having this conversation about what our relationship looks like and what our exchange looks like, right? And that was one of the things that, worked well for me because it wasn't just about, I'm going to always need this from you. It was, this is what I can offer. And then this is what, tell me what you need from me that's going to help you get money in your pocket and keep your job. And then when we get in the room, it's authentic, right? It's authentic, and we've helped each other, and you know about me, I know about you. So when you think about, that's just me sharing my story, but what are you seeing maybe a big challenge or, an approach that you're seeing commonly, a mistake that people are making that's not building that stakeholder alignment and influence that we can just stop them from doing it just today?
Let's stop people from reaching out to people and asking for their time. Time is our most valuable currency.
Chela.
And you would not believe how many people reach out to me and say, I just want to chat with you for 30 minutes. Can we get coffee? Can we get lunch? And look, I love y'all. I love people. I love connecting. But I think in the absence of a relationship, if you're just reaching out to me to initiate a relationship, I'm going to look for some other things first before I give you my time. I'm going to consider, this is what I would do. If I wanted to get to have a relationship with Candace, I'm going to reach out to you to say hi, introduce myself, whatever. And then I'm going to start putting some deposits in the bank. The deposits are the offers. And the deposits do not have to be a heavy lift. They don't have to be a heavy lift at all. I might see Candace is advertising for a career workshop that she's doing. I'm going to repost that on my Instagram and give her some free promo. I might see Candace has a podcast called 5 Minute Career Hack. I'm going to subscribe because she needs some subscribers on her podcast, on her.
Thank you.
I got you. I subscribed a long time ago. I'm going to start putting some deposits in the bank though, right? I'm going to see an article about something that Candace might be interested in. I'm going to send it to you. Hey, I saw this, thought about you. Hope you're well.
Yeah.
Hey, mama, just checking on you.
Yes.
I'm going to do these things because then later when I say, hey, can we chat? I just want like 30 minutes of your time. I have put some deposits in this relationship bank. And now it's not like I'm just coming to you when I need some shit. You understand?
Yeah.
And I think that we make the mistake of getting in a situation where we do need some shit and I need some help.
Yes.
And I'm going to hit Candace.
But you don't have a relationship.
But I have not put any deposits in the bank.
Yeah.
And I think that that is a big mistake because the deposits don't have to be large.
Yeah.
They can be very, very small. I'm going to tag you on some post on LinkedIn and say like, oh, this is really cool. My friend Candace is doing it. I'm going to do this sort of stuff, you know, to let you know that like I'm rooting for you and I'm helping however I can help. And that way it's just not, it doesn't feel icky and transactional and fake when I do hit you up.
Yes.
Because I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you up.
I mean, if like we need each other. So
Yes.
if we're in this life together, there is going to be a point in time,
Yeah.
especially if we are in community with one another, where we're going to need each other.
Yeah.
So let's stop acting like that's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Because what's happening too, to your point, is we getting on each other's calendars.
Yeah.
And we're not saying what we actually need either.
Yeah.
And so that takes the authenticity piece out, which doesn't make me want to jump when you say you need something.
Yes.
Because I can feel it.
You
And
can
I can
tell.
tell. I can feel it. Like you're not saying something.
Exactly.
I'm gonna try to get it out of you because I'm that kind of person. I'm just like I can't help myself. I'm that kind of person of like, so what's going on here?
Yeah.
But both sometimes they don't say it, and that's the fast way to not be able to get back on the calendar.
You can tell. And as a general rule of thumb, I would say 5 deposits in the bank to 1 ask. So at least 5 deposits before you start asking people for stuff, right?
That's marketing too.
5 to 1.
Yeah.
So if somebody needs a rule of thumb, you know,
Yes.
like, have you put 5 deposits in the relationship bank? Okay, now you can ask for your favor.
Gotcha.
Right?
I like
Have
that.
you put 5 deposits in your relationship bank with me? Okay, now you can ask for some of my time. Here's my calendar link.
Yeah.
Schedule whenever you want.
Yeah.
Like, but I need to feel something, you
Yes.
know, when it comes to effort. And I know it's not always going to be perfect. Trust me. I know this advice is a hard one.
Yeah.
She has made plenty of mistakes. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I think that if somebody can really pick that up though, it could be really helpful.
Yeah. And I mean, who's to say that, you know, maybe I'll make this mistake again.
Oh yeah.
But I think now that what I have is Shayla's disruptive information that you shared today of Candace. Have you made 5 deposits?
Yeah.
Because sometimes demand is high. I need something. I need
Yeah.
that. But then it will challenge us to think about, you know, what am I adding? What value am I adding? And just be more intentional about it.
That's
so
right.
yes, nobody's perfect.
Nobody's
but 5
perfect.
deposits. 5 deposits.
Small. Use
Yeah.
social media. Let that be
Yeah.
your tool.
Yes,
It's a
and
good
I'm
tool.
gonna say this so quick, but it's the same as like if this helps people relate. Of like, you know, so I have an apparel company, right? And so I could very well, which I did at one point and it didn't yield anything, send out an email every day asking you to buy something.
Yeah.
Instead, and me and Jamila talked about this the other day, instead, how about I just give you something every day for 5 days?
Yeah.
I'm just going to share the affirmation and something cute from Riley.
Yeah.
And then on the 6th day or the following week, you get the ask. But if I'm asking every day, guess what that's going to get? Unsubscribers. You're going to leave my email list.
Yes.
And I can see my unsubscribe rate. So,
Yes.
so I know with my marketing, it's not working. Okay,
Yes.
but no, great. No, I love that. And, you know, I can go in on this. So I'm going to look at this. I'm going to grab the next question before we end up talking about stakeholder alignment for the entire interview. But the other piece that you said that can help you advance your career is personal brand. So talk a little bit about the importance of personal brand and how can somebody brand themselves for their next role before their employer even realizes that they're ready for that role.
You know, we could talk about it because this is important.
Yes.
Personal brand is important, and I want people to know that. And also, I have a little bit of personal brand fatigue because
about it.
I hate it. And so if anybody else is out here and you hear the word personal brand and it's just like, ugh, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. Trust me when I say I feel you. But it's important because if you don't control the narrative to an extent, right, when it comes to your career and whatnot, if you don't control what they're saying about you when you're not in the room, you just don't have any control. And the fact of the matter is you do have some degree of control over what people say about you when you are not in that space.
Yeah.
So obviously your brand is going to be like the intersection between how you want to be perceived and how you're actually perceived. So what are you doing now? And then what do you want to be doing? And then what do people think you're doing?
Right.
That's going to be like, you need to work in the middle of that Venn diagram of these three things. One of the best ways to scale your brand, and you know, it's silly because there's all these frameworks and theories and stuff, but like, how are you talking about yourself? Period. How are you talking about who you are and what you wish people knew more of about you? I go to spaces where I am not known. And in those spaces, I am Dr. Chela. This is who I am, period. So that's one way I'm talking about myself. Before you even know anything else about me, you know I'm Dr. Chela. And then, depending on the space and what I want to be known for, speaking to your point, which is how do you start branding yourself for your next job while you're still in your current job? What are you talking about? Are you talking about this with your manager? Are you talking about your interests with your peers? Here's an example. Earlier, I was telling you that I am the on-air talent for Indeed's SMB employer site. Go to Indeed.com/hire. And you will see this page. This is not in my job description. This work is just work that I like doing. I'm interested in doing it. I got to MC our very large conference twice. I got to meet all the celebrities, and it was really cool. And again, this is not in my job description. The reason I got this opportunity, there are plenty of gifted speakers at the organization. One of the things that I did was talk about this interest with anybody who would listen. I want to MC the Indeed FutureWorks conference. I really want to do more of this. I really wish I could do more of this. Talking about it and not being afraid to have that conversation with your manager is going to get you very far. I do a lot of public speaking and facilitation outside of my day job. I go to different companies. I talk to them about unconscious bias and career advancement and all of these things. I do these workshops. And my manager is super supportive of this because I open up my mouth and I tell him I am interested in, I am a community facilitator and I want to do more of it. And he supports me in doing it as long as I excel in my work and it doesn't conflict. And so I would say don't be afraid to tell people and don't be afraid to be seen trying when it comes to something that you want to do next. I have a program called Hey Stranger. It's a social dining experiment, community building program where you go to dinner with 6 strangers at a secret location. And I facilitate a bunch of ways for you to get to know each other. This is outside of my day-to-day work at Indeed, but this is something I'm very passionate about and I love. Everybody that I work with at Indeed knows about Hey Stranger. They love it. They love the idea of me doing this and they know, oh yeah, Chela does this. So when I'm not in the room, they're talking about my stuff to other people. I think that is what we need to do more of. So like when we talk about brand, people think like, oh, you got to put together your strategy and stuff. Your strategy is open your mouth and tell people what you want to be known for. And then eventually there's like a joke. It says, how do you become an expert at something, right? And the answer is call yourself an expert. Get on LinkedIn and say I'm an expert.
That's a word.
Like the Bible says, speak those things that are not as though they were, right? There's all this advice that tells us to open up our mouths when we want something. So,
But sometimes we follow the wrong rules, but these are
right.
the ones to follow
These
right
are
here.
ones,
Love
and
it.
it's not easy, but it's not complicated.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not complex.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do because it's vulnerable,
Right.
and you don't want to always be putting your shit out there. Like, I don't want to put mine. I get it. It's vulnerable, but that there's power in that vulnerability.
Yes,
And
yes.
I think that is that's a really cool way to start.
Yes, I love it. It's so vulnerable, and it takes debunking kind of what we were originally taught about what professionalism
Yes.
and separation between church and state, or business.
Yeah.
No, leave your feelings and your personal life at the door, and then when you're
Yeah.
inside, you got to be professional. It takes you to kind of really change your mind about that.
Yeah.
To go into work, to be vulnerable enough to say, actually, yes, I'm great at my job, and not but. And this is what I'm passionate about.
Yes.
This is what my values are. When I used to introduce myself to my team, when I would take over new teams that I had the opportunity to do multiple times, I would first intro with, this is who I am.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a picture of my family. These are my 3 values. These are the things that I stand for. So you can know those things first. And when last job, and me and my daughter, we're starting a t-shirt company.
Yes.
Right? Like those things, but you have to move away from this is what it has to sound and look like in order for you to be able to do that. And it made me think about while you were talking, and I think on, again, season 1, I talked about this. Harvey Coleman, I can't think of the name of his book. Have you heard of him, Harvey Coleman? He talks about the formula for advancing your career.
Yeah.
And most times we're in a workplace and we first say that, well, I got the results. Nobody does my job better than me.
Yeah.
And actually, he made this formula called PI. And so it's performance, image, and exposure. Those are the 3 things that, he recommends. And people were very surprised to learn that performance was just 10% of the formula.
Yeah.
Actually, what you're talking about around personal brand and why it's so important is the image and the exposure, how you're being perceived. And I love when you said what they think you're doing.
Yeah.
But I thought about kind of taking it a step further, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. That exposure piece is not just you being exposed to people, but what you're going to expose about yourself to them.
Absolutely.
And that's 60% of the formula is exposure.
Absolutely.
But it's not one-sided. This is you just helped me with a fresh revelation. It is two-sided. Any thoughts on that before I give you this last question, and then we'll end with final 5 words?
So many thoughts on it. Yeah. My first thing, though, I want to go back to something you said about professionalism. I don't know if this is going to make the tape. Y'all might cut me off.
You might not, though.
Professionalism and the concept of professional is rooted in white supremacy.
Yes.
And it's rooted in the patriarchy. This is important to consider. And when you really wrap your mind around this will free you from some of those behaviors that they say you have to engage in order to maintain professionalism. I'm going to let y'all keep that, and maybe we can dig into that another time. But just know that, if you want to be authentic, when we talk about personal branding, you want it to be an authentic personal brand that's authentic to you, because then it's going to feel good and people are going to see it. And when it comes to that exposure part and what you're putting out there, absolutely, that's a big part of it. And that is, we can dig more into it, but that has to do with your self-advocacy and how you're talking about your work and how you're talking about yourself.
Absolutely.
If you want to scale out that brand, besides talking about it with individuals, the fastest way to do it is from the stage.
Yeah.
So whatever kind of public speaking, whatever kind of platform you can get.
Yes. No, I love that. I love that. So listen, I doubt that's not going to make the tape. Let me just say that right now, because I'm actually a little bit, because I know what you just said, sometimes I'm uncomfortable with the word.
Yeah.
And I think you and I were in a class together.
We might have talked about this.
And I don't know if we did, but we were in a class. It was actually at Indeed.
Okay.
And the presenter was talking about professional. And I think, and I was like, so first thing I do, Shay, was I pull out my dictionary. Because we loose with words. So I like to, and I'm like, I still don't like this word. I don't even want to answer this question because
no.
So, and I have a rough definition. Actually, Jamila and I talked about this because I told her, like, polished, professional. I don't like none of those words. I think it's, it doesn't consider all people.
No.
And to your point, the origin is what we need to be concerned about. And so we don't need to carry that narrative forward. But it was Are you clean and can you communicate? Like,
Right, right. And it's like, where is this coming from? We're twisting ourselves into pretzels. We're trying to stand up straight in a very crooked room, right? The ceiling is sloping, and we're trying to stand up straight because we're trying to be professional. But this room was not built for you. It was not built for you to stand up straight,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So now we have to figure out how we can exist in a system that is rooted in white supremacy. And the way I have chosen to exist in this system is to be as authentic to myself as I can be, while still maintaining my standard of performance.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty high standard because I am me.
Yes,
So,
yes.
but that's how I'm choosing to navigate that.
Love it. Love it. Man, you have shared so much.
Yeah, this is good.
I love the unorthodox way of thinking. I mean, I think in order for us to change the narrative and for us to advance in our careers the right way, we have to challenge everything that we've been taught, right? Challenge everything. We need to hear from people like you who are courageous enough to say and do the things that are different than the way that we learned it. And I think you did just an incredible job today of challenging even my own thought process on some things and adding some disruptive language that would actually help us advance our careers faster.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. And
Thank
before I
you.
move to the final 5 words, because I do want you to share final
Five
five
words?
words. Yep. Random.
Okay.
Either it's your favorite 5-word affirmation or
Okay.
just 5 words that hit your spirit right in the moment. But any final thoughts, though, before you share those words
Oh man.
on that we didn't cover on advancing your career or, tools, action steps? I love to just organically hear that from you, and then we'll move to the ending.
Yeah. I would say, always be learning. Keep things interesting by trying to do what you want to do. Sometimes, you have to do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. Sometimes we
That's
have
a
to have a
sermon.
paycheck job. It's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes we all know that feeling. There's this other stuff that I'm passionate about, but I have to keep a check. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do before you can do what you want to do. I just want to encourage people to not get discouraged in that situation. It's okay, and it's okay if you are fortunate to be doing what you want to do and you don't have that extra need or that extra, this is exactly where you want to be. You're very fortunate, very privileged, but I just want to encourage people, like, it doesn't really matter as long as you feel like you are being authentic to yourself. So it doesn't really matter like whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a side hustler, you work in corporate full time, you work in nonprofits, as long as you feel like you are being authentic to you and recognizing that career advancement has to do with more than just your job title. It's holistic. My work, I work at Indeed, but Indeed is not my work. It is a part of my work. My work is bigger than Indeed. I am a community creator. I help create connections. I help people feel a sense of belonging, and I do that by any means necessary, inside Indeed and outside. And so I just want to encourage people to think about that. Think about it a holistic career that's authentic to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm not going to re-preach that. It was too good. And I'm just sitting here. Again, thank you. Just hearing even that outro, I'm just glad that I know you.
Oh, my friend.
I'm glad that I know you. I think that you are a beautiful soul. The way you talked about your expertise, but also your humanity at the same time, I think it should be replicated.
Oh, my friend, I appreciate you,
should.
girl.
Yeah, it should. Just thank you. So, as we do with all of our guests, you have final 5 words. Again, it could be an affirmation. It could be just 5 words that come out of your belly, but share your final 5 words with the audience.
My final 5 words. This is something that, this is new for me. I'm going to say my final 5 words. Not afraid to be seen. We talked about vulnerability and how scary, that is. But it has to do with a fear of being seen and heard And I think we all walk around with this.
Yeah.
So my affirmation, not afraid to be seen.
Yeah.
Put that on a t-shirt for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Put that on a shirt
Ma'am,
for me.
that is good. So this the 5 Minute Career Hack Podcast where Ralio Designs got your back on that.
Put me on a shirt.
Yes.
Yes, get Ralio on.
And I
Put me
think
on a shirt.
it's excellent career advice. If you
Yeah.
really want to advance in your career and you want to get there faster and you're
Yeah.
in transit, you want your train to go fast, you can't hide.
Yeah.
You can't hide. Nobody can read your mind.
Mhm.
Nobody knows what you're thinking about the promotion you want. Nobody
Exactly.
knows how much money you make.
Yeah.
You got to get out there and be visible.
Yeah. And
If you
speak about the things.
speak about the things.
Yeah.
Yes. Shayla, thank you so much.
Candace.
I am better because of this
Plus,
episode.
same. This is
I
such
am
a good
better.
conversation.
I am better because of this episode, and I'm sure that everybody who's watching is going to take more than 5 things away from what you shared today. So
I hope so.
I look forward to more conversations and collaboration with you.
Yes, we will talk soon.
Awesome. Take care, everybody.